let's bring up our MCs for this evening.
Let's go. What a day. What a day. Oh, thank you so much. That was beautiful, y'all. Sometimes I like to speak in an accent. I don't know if it's really on. We just kind of go with it, don't you know? Yes?
These are on.
I don't think these are on. So
These
that's
are
probably
not.
this accent is brutal.
Switch? That's on. Maybe? Yeah.
Hola. Hi, y'all. Welcome to Alpha Omega, best part of the week. So,
Yeah.
Miss Raina.
Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining
good
us
stuff.
again this week. Last week we had our Packers in praise, so if you came out for that, it was super awesome. Packers won, right? Yeah, they did. I paid attention to that game. All right. Swear I'm a football fan.
It was awesome. So, we have got a fantastic game for y'all today. So, would you like the game committee to please come up? No, we would not like them to come up at all. Because
I'm leading it. It's great. All right. So the theme of tonight is why serve. So we thought, why not play a game about name these famous people who serve? Yeah. We're gonna do this on the honor system. We're all Catholic, so we should know what that is. So we're gonna show you photos of 5 famous people known for service. Sometimes they're known for other things too. It's fine. And you are gonna guess in your mind who they are. And then at the end, we'll go through and reveal them, and whoever gets the most out of the 5, or if there's a tie, whatever, you get some candy. So, honor system, we'll go with it. All right, so first one's pretty easy. Who is that? Oh, I don't know.
Do we have a volunteer from the audience who knows who this wonderful yes in the back? Yes.
What word do I say?
You can say it.
Okay. St. Teresa of Calcutta.
Woo!
Right. Well done. Superb.
That is right.
Superb.
Who is
also,
that?
Yeah.
Also, yes. Who is that? Does anybody know who that hunk of a man is? Yeah. That is 100% correct. That is Nelson Mandela.
Got it. Well done.
What a stud. All right.
2. That's
Hey! Phil!
Pope Francis!
Papa Francis!
You got it! Well done.
You did it! All right, I think this one gets a little bit harder, maybe?
Papa!
Who is this philanthropist? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah! There you go.
Well done.
Look at that ring. She's got the bling on. Alright. Last but not least, who is this? Anybody? It is not Jake's grandma.
Hey,
I'm sure
yes.
she's a lovely lady. Anna!
Dorothy Day.
No. That's actually wrong. Close. I think Mary's trying to cheat back there. Mary. Does anybody know?
Anyone?
She was involved in the prison reform movement. She helped improve conditions in mental institutions. Starts with a D. You're close, but it's not. Alright, well, we'll go through and reveal everybody, and then we'll say that's the best for me.
Is it Dorothea Dix? Is that what it is?
Yeah! Extra candy for you!
Well
So,
done.
obviously, first one, Mother Teresa. She founded the Missionaries of Charity, devoted her life to helping the poor and needy. She even got a Nobel Peace Prize out of it, and she's a saint. Pretty cool. Nelson Mandela, leader of the anti-apartheid movement. He became South Africa's first president. He helped end institutional racism. Go him.
That's kind of cool.
Cool. Pope Francis. I hope we all know who that person is.
Yes. Okay.
Go God's mercy. All right. Princess Diana opened a bunch of children's hospitals. Worked to help AIDS research and leprosy treatment. P.S. Mother Teresa, this is a fun fact that I learned today as I was doing this. P.S. Mother Teresa gave her a rosary, and she was when Diana died, she was buried with that rosary in her hands. So that's pretty cool. Dude, I want a rosary from Mother Teresa, but that's fine. Yeah, and this is Dorothea Dix. So she helped improve conditions in the jails and mental institutions, and she created more than 32 hospitals for the mentally ill. Yeah, go them.
Pretty sweet.
So, these are all examples of what we're trying to be. Good service people.
Absolutely. You got that right.
So, whoever answered, we'll give you candy. You guys can come up here and get some candy. Or you just throw it out.
Probably want to throw it patches up here first.
Yeah!
You go.
Pick some candy.
There is some Kit Kat, Almond Joy, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and Hershey's.
You get extra. Here, take all these. Go psychology. Alright. Now, on to the main event.
We have got some lovely speakers for y'all tonight.
Oh,
Karina is going to explain our first guest, Miss Sam.
So our first speaker tonight is Sam Vosters, who is the pantry coordinator for the River West Food Pantry. She's done that for the last 4 years. She's originally from Freedom, Wisconsin, where she enjoys the return for nostalgic smell of manure. Ooh.
Yum.
That's real. That's actually true, though.
Great. Cassie would know. She helped found the Mission House a few years ago after being haunted and inspired by the lives of her three best friends, Catherine Dorothy Day, and Madeline Delbray. There you go. Those are great last names.
It is.
She has been living private vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience of 2 years as a laywoman. And just to top it off to make her an even better person, she loves dark chocolate.
All right, so that was Sam. She is the first guest tonight. Next we have Miss Mary, who is a superstar. She is a mission intern. She's the mission intern and volunteer coordinator. She's originally from DePlain, Illinois, which, even though they're from Illinois, we still love them. They are just a state away, but go Badgers. So she is a recent graduate from Christendom College with a degree in philosophy and theology, pretty good combo, and she aspires to be a jazz singer in her free time, and she holds solo concerts while washing the dishes and pondering the true, good, and beautiful.
Good combo.
Unfortunately, she loves milk chocolate. Please give a warm welcome to Miss Sam and Miss Mary.
What's great about that is that Mary didn't know what I wrote. I wrote that. So,
Hi, I'm Sam Vosters, and I am the director of Team Form for the River West Food Pantry, and I coordinate the pantry. I started at the pantry about 4 years ago. I had done a year of service in the Bronx, which was really cool. After getting to know Dorothy Day, I was inspired to come to understand American poverty. And then after the Bronx, I realized, why am I out in New York when I feel like back home in Wisconsin, there's, the same problems. And I felt like there was less sort of support, like community groups, like doing intentional community and serving the community. So I felt called back and ended up in Fond du Lac, which is very different than the Bronx. And so I was craving this city, because who doesn't crave people and, the insane life of the city. But it was there during my first year in Milwaukee that I was just a barista that first year in Milwaukee, and realized really quickly that you can't live off of a barista's salary. You can't live off of minimum wage, turns out. So it was a beautiful year for me to experience that struggle and sort of this day-to-day trying to figure out okay, every month, at the end of the month, how am I going to pay the bills to be able to make it the next month, and realizing man, I don't even have kids. How do other people do this? And then during that year, I really missed that time in the Bronx and town prematurely poor, and so I just kept feeling all my life, I feel like this like hunger for like drawing near to the poor. And so I'm going to tell you more about that and like why that hunger is a really, really good thing. And I'm going to go back into a little bit about the founding then of the Mission House and the work at the food pantry. And this is just a few fun pictures of the food pantry. But what's so good about serving the poor? Mary, can you? I'm just going to say this.
Yeah.
So first of all, the gospel tells us to serve the poor. That's the easiest reason why we serve. It's because Jesus said so. Because he is the poor man. Every person is made in the image and likeness of Christ, and therefore every single person we encounter is the poor man. But especially those who are materially poor and spiritually poor. So what does Matthew 25 tell us? That at the end of the age, the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. A stranger and you welcomed me. Naked and you clothed me. Ill and you cared for me. In prison and you visited me." Then the righteous will say, "Lord, when did we see you hungry, feed you, thirsty, give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and welcome you, naked and clothe you? When did we see you ill or in prison and visit you?" And the king will say to them in reply, "Amen, I say to you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers, you did for me." And then what does he say to those on his left? He says that they are accursed into the eternal fire prepared for them. And why is that? Is because they saw him hungry, they saw him thirsty, they saw him imprisoned, and they did not care for him. They passed him by. And so really that I think like stirring in my heart, and I'm sure in a lot of your hearts, of like when you encounter the poor man on the street, like what the heck do I do in this situation? Is like really like the Lord saying like, this is me. I need you and I love you and I desire you. So I'm just going to talk real quickly about 3 great examples of this. We mistakenly identified her before, but I'm going to bring her up again. Dorothy Day founded the Catholic Worker Movement, which basically was houses of hospitality throughout, especially the United States, where they just perform the works of mercy. So here's this woman who has this dramatic conversion. She was an atheist. No, she wasn't an atheist. She wasn't even technically a communist, but she was like very involved with their movement. Madeleine Delbray was the atheist. Dorothy Day then has this beautiful conversion later in her life after having a child, and she gives her life to the Lord and basically loses all of her friends. Because they're like, I don't understand. She loses her like common law husband. She loses everything that is dear to her. And she feels totally stripped, and then the Lord is like, calls her at that time when she's totally desolate to serve him. She meets Peter Morin and they co-found the Catholic Worker. So then she just like starts housing homeless people. And there's these beautiful, I strongly encourage you, actually, Jake's uncle is the one who introduced me to her in college, Dr. Naughton. And read The Long Loneliness. It's her autobiography. It's short. It is powerful. It's very easy to read because she was an amazing journalist. But just like her description of this like struggle with serving the poor. Like we just can think really pie in the sky ideas of like, I'm gonna like end homelessness. I'm gonna do all these great things. And she just like describes very beautifully and really not beautifully, like in a very ugly way, like the ugliness of serving the poor. And yet still how like there is this need, simply because of Matthew 25, because the Lord says that this is me, there's still like this deep conviction, like, no, this is right, this is what I should be doing. And literally, like, she would be constantly housing even, people who were alcoholics, people who were, she was just always serving and going into prison a million times for just protesting everything, which is great. One of her best friends, who was also a strong leader in the lay movement, was Catherine Doherty. She founded Madonna House Apostolate, which originally started as a friendship house, and they were like BFFs in New York, basically doing very similar things. They would meet in the middle of New York and cry their eyes out about how hard it was to serve the poor over a cup of coffee after they had saved up $5. So again, I encourage you to check out Catherine Doherty, but she's another powerful example of like living as like a lay person. Like, what is your call to like really infiltrate the earth with the love of God, and really to like be poor. Like, we need to actually be poor and able to really come to know God because He is poor. And Madeleine Delbray, about the same time in France, she intentionally moved into a heavily communist neighborhood to just be, after she had her conversion, she moved into, with some other gals, a heavily communist neighborhood because the communists and the Christians were not nice to each other. That's an understatement. And she worked for unity, and she worked in the social sphere to serve the poor. She was like running all of the food pantries because it was like during the war, and she was like constantly running all around, running the food pantries, trying to like serve those in need and to serve the communists and the Christians alike. Anyway, three strong people that really influenced my vocation as a laywoman who has made a decision to live private vows in the world, but also this like deep conviction of like, you know what? Like they all started something. Like they just were like, Jesus is the poor man, and I'm going to give up everything, my friends, my husband, in Dorothy Day's case, I'm going to like give up, because of her conversion, I'm going to give up my like comfortable life to totally become like destitute and like be with the poor, because there's something just inherently good about that. So the Catechism dives into this a little bit more, and it says that it is by what so God blesses those who come to the aid of the poor and rebukes those who turn away from Him. It is by what they have done for the poor that Jesus Christ will recognize His chosen ones. When the poor have the good news preached to them, it is the sign of Christ's presence. And I love this next paragraph. It's so challenging to me. The church's love for the poor is a part of her constant tradition. This love is inspired by the gospel of the Beatitudes, of the poverty of Jesus, and of His concern for the poor. Love for the poor is even one of the motives for the duty of working so as to be able to give to those in need. It extends not only to material poverty, but also the many forms of cultural and religious poverty. So there's material poverty. We basically just listed like the corporal works of mercy, and then there's also the spiritual poverty. And we like need to work for the end to all of those poverties. And I know a lot of people will say like, the poor will always be with you. And you can use it as a cop-out to like actually challenge yourself to like really, really like care for the poor and to like sacrifice yourself. But I just love how it says here like, love for the poor is even one of the motives for the duty of working. So like, the reason why we even like work and like make money is love for the poor and like service to them and sacrifice for them. We're called to give of our time and our talents, and so that can be like our gifts, but also like of our resources, and we should really give until it hurts. That's what our executive director always says. It's like, give, but give until it hurts. Like, it better hurt, otherwise you're not really giving. So we started about 3 years, okay, so I had worked at a coffee shop and then was like, how am I going to like serve here? And I just remember encountering, I lived kind of downtown, and you guys probably experience this as well pretty regularly, is just like encountering poor people on the street, and just like being really like frustrated, like how am I going to actually do something about this? And so through a series of events, I like went to my parish, was invited to like go volunteer at the food pantry that we support, the River West Food Pantry. And I never worked at a food pantry before, and I said, oh sure, I don't really know or care too much about hunger relief, I just love people, but I guess that seems important, so I will check that out. And there was just something about like the presence of the community there, so I'll talk like more about the food pantry, but in more depth, but there was something about the way that the food pantry really like served and like saw the whole person, that it's not just like giving out a bag of food, you know, that it was like, it felt kind of like the coffee shop, like there's like, come downstairs, have some coffee, have some egg bake, you really like feel like this beautiful like welcome, and people are like, oh, is this what all food pantries are like? Like you get to like choose all of the food that you need, and through that experience, just like really, like I started coming back regularly, and so pretty soon, like then, my friend Shannon and I had made a commitment of coming like every Friday and Saturday we would volunteer at the food pantry, because the executive director had like just become the director like a year before, and they had never had a paid staff before, and he was working with all of these women who were like in their 70s, retired, who had run the food pantry forever and ever. And he really had this beautiful vision for like how the food pantry can be more than just like a handout, but like how it can really build community well-being. And we really thought, like Shannon and I, like we could have a place for like young people to be able to come to serve. And so then we slowly developed what now is the mission internship. So these are our 6 full-time missionary interns. They just started in August. Mary is one of them, and they're giving a year of service with the food pantry. They start their mornings in adoration, praying morning prayer, and then they're like running various aspects of the food pantry, because they have like felt like this call to serve, and this like how can I like enter more into that life. So, how can I, like, when I am, like, living, how can we constantly be mindful that, like, it's not, none of the things that I possess, even, like, my gifts, but also, like, my clothing, etc., that it's not mine. So, St. John Chrysostom says, this is year 347, which I think is really powerful. Not to enable the poor to share in our goods is to steal from them and deprive them of life. The goods we possess are not ours, but theirs. That's so demanding and also really encouraging. It should like really free us to be like, none of this is mine, this is ours. Like we're all brothers and sisters, and that so we're responsible for like every person we meet and encounter. And so service is really beautiful because it just like is a way that we are able to recognize the other. You know, man cannot fully find himself except in the sincere gift of themselves. That's from Gaudium et Spes. And we really find ourselves through service. At the food pantry, I just like that very practically. Oh no, this is just me listing the corporal and spiritual works of mercy. We can keep going. I'll come back to that. I'm just going to go into now a little bit about the food pantry. So it's existed for like 30 years out of the basement of St. Casimir Church. Basically, some folks were like, your neighbors are hungry. Some people who were working in like the Housing Action Committee came to the parish and they're like, your neighbors are hungry, can you guys do something about it? And so these women just were like, yep, yeah. And these men were just like, yeah, we'll have a food pantry. So like in the basement of it, they just started packing bags. Well, then that just developed where like 15 years ago, they converted it into a 100% choice pantry, so people can come through and literally choose everything that they need. So like, they can choose if they want like rice or noodles, or they can choose if they want like tuna or peanut butter or whatever, which reduces waste. And also gives people the dignity that they deserve to be able to really like make a choice. We also serve out of the basement of Genson Public School, and we're actually no longer at 3 Holy Women. I just realized we just got new office space because we're growing so much, and so we're in an old convent in our neighborhood. We're in the River West and Harambe neighborhoods of Milwaukee, so just northwest of downtown. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the neighborhood. So initially the food pantry the mission was just to provide food assistance to low and moderate income residents on Milwaukee's north side. Pretty like broad mission statement. We're providing food, that's a good thing. That's Shannon and Mary David and squash. We get a lot of fresh produce from Feeding America and the farm at Hunger Task Force, and we have 2 big gardens as well. We distribute a lot of pounds of food. 230,000 pounds of food to like 12,000 people. On an average Saturday morning, there's like 120 families that come through and shop. And on Tuesday evenings at Gunsland, there's about 30 families that come through and shop. And so they can come back once a month to receive the full allotment of food, and they can come back the other weeks for just bread and fresh produce. So sometimes it is like people who are repeating, but there's always new people. So who comes to food pantries? You can just keep clicking. Yeah, there we go. Children and families. A third are children. 65% single parent households. A lot of people are elderly and disabled on a fixed income. There are a lot of people who are underemployed. So this is an interesting stat. 39% with an average monthly income of $1,200 basically. Actually, we did last year, we ran some stats from when we register people, and it's somewhere like 74% of our families of 4 make $1,200 a month. And that is the amount of money that like a family of 1 should be making to qualify. So that's really interesting. And then moderate income households, so like there's some people who just like their medical bills went up that month, or they, I don't know, have seasonal like work like construction or something like that. Also, we serve some neighborhoods that I used to be a barista, and I was like, this is a really wealthy neighborhood, why are we serving that food pantry? But somebody's like spouse like tragically died, and they don't want to uproot their kids from their school system. You know, they're like teenagers, it's an awful time to like move. But also like she's a single mom trying to provide then like for her kids. And so anyway, those are just some examples. So like a small amount of people are homeless, a lot of people are just like low income and just trying to make it every month. So there's a stat of 74% of our families of 4 fall below the poverty line of a family of 1. And then we can save people like $200 a month almost. So that like can go towards like heating bills or medical bills, etc. So what's the larger problem? Is just the cycle of poverty. So people are hungry, they get food, we give them food, they're still in poverty, they're still hungry, they still keep coming back, it goes on and on. So this is just a stat from Feeding America. People just having to choose between food and medical care, education, utilities. There's a lot of people who are constantly coming in and saying the electricity just was cut off, etc., etc. So we just keep giving them food and say, good luck, keep warm. That actually, I shouldn't have glossed over that scripture before, but the book of James is one that we constantly are haunted by as well, that he says like, what good is it if you tell your brother, good luck, keep warm when he doesn't have a coat? Like, we need to actually address like what he's going through and not just like brush past that. So this is just like, okay, here's your food, good luck, you still have all of these problems. So what are we gonna do about this? This just seems like it is a vicious cycle. So we went through like a huge strategic plan, and you can keep going till the moment. And we spent a year like meeting monthly with a group of people to be like, okay, how can we do this? How can we be more than just like handing out? How can we really build community and build relationships? So we looked and we're like, we're just a food pantry. I don't know, we just give people food. But it turns out like people are hungry and they're constantly going to be coming back to you because you provide food. So it's such an easy access to like all different sorts of people. And we found that there's some food pantries, especially in Canada, they have this amazing food pantry called The Stop, that they do a lot of like growing of their own food and education around food, because a lot of people in our area have high blood pressure and they have type 2 diabetes. And a lot of these things can be helped by learning how to have good eating habits, but also there's such like food deserts in the area, like it's just difficult to get to grocery stores, and there's corner stores with like hot fries and nacho sauce, which my friends, students would eat like every day, which you all maybe experience if you like them, or anyway, sorry. And so like we're providing all of this great produce and food, but like, do people actually know what to do with it? And so we also saw that there's some food pantries that are doing like mentoring programs, and so we divided up into like 4 teams that we want to really like focus on. So one of them being our team shop, to like work on food literacy so that people really understand when they come through the food pantry, for instance. Initially it was divvied up like, this is the breakfast food, this is the lunch food, this is the, but we changed it so it was like more accurate to like, these are vegetables, like these are grains, these are, etc. And then we also started having food demos. So every Saturday when people come down, there's like a small little food demo with some of the produce that we got, so people can sample it to then go through and be like, oh yeah, eggplant, like I just tried that today, that was interesting, maybe I can try to bring it home and actually do something with it. But then, other than that, we were like, okay, this is great, but if people also don't know like how to actually cook with the items, what are they going to do? So, excuse me. So we started these small meal sites called feast meals. Can everybody say feast meals?
Feast meals.
One more time, feast meals?
Feast meals.
Okay, so the feast meals happen once a month, and we just get a whole bunch of produce and grains, etc. on a table. And I've been talking for a while, so it's just a way to make me feel like I'm still here. And then we like put a bunch of produce and a bunch of grains and some meat, etc. on the table, and we have like 16 shoppers and then some staff there. We're like, okay, here's all we have to work with. Now let's cook something with it. And then it's like, okay, this team is in charge of the vegetable item, like this team is in charge of the meat item, and then people have to just like cook in groups of 4 and like say like, okay, I'm gonna do rice, and then Mary's gonna say, I'm gonna add like cinnamon to it, and I'm like, that's weird, but I can't say no, so then I'm like, I'm gonna add like peppers to it, okay? And then you keep going around and you basically like make up the recipe, and then you cook it together, which is really fun because I was like cooking with like some guys from like the public housing tower who were there, and like one of the guys, we were like making rice with like a sticky rice basically, and he like had never scrambled eggs before, and I was like, Patrick, you've never scrambled eggs before? I'm like, you're scrambling the eggs. And he was like so, like just needed that like confidence to like be able to like scramble eggs. But like he probably is like always coming in and just getting the stuff that's like super easy to open up and then you just throw in the microwave because it's just easy. And so it was really cool to see this like confidence built up in him that like, yeah, I can cook for myself. So that's a really cool way to just like have like, you're kind of doing some education about cooking, but you're also just like getting to know people. And so it's less like me serving you and us just like doing this thing together. And then we have Team Stride, which one of our interns, Carrie, helped start with one of the, Carrie Schusler. She started with a grad student at the School of Social Welfare at UWM, and she started a mentoring program. So we're training average volunteers who have no background in social work how to like meet with shoppers and set goals and help them like be able to make steps in life. So it's not just like, oh, your house just burned down, sorry, good luck, here's your food, see ya. But it's like, your house just burned down, like what the heck? What's going on with that? Start a conversation and then just be like, you know what, I heard that the Red Cross like helps you with, like burn victims, et cetera, et cetera. So just trying to do more so we're not just saying like, good luck, keep warm, see you later, never. Anyway, so our new mission is we come together around food to relieve hunger, improve lives, and grow community well-being. And then we have a team, we hope like every year to have a team of interns who come and live in community and really form like this strong center of like rooted in Christ and praying together and then like running aspects of the food pantry to be able to also just like grow these different teams and allow them to really like flourish. So there's that. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mary to talk a little bit about her experience as an intern this year.
Hi everybody. So my notes here say introduce self. So my name is Mary Woytych. I'm one of the interns, and as Sam said, I started in August. And I'm originally from the Chicago area, Des Plaines. It's my hometown. And before I really like share about what I'm doing, I just want you all to know that like if I compared myself like right now to who I was 6 months ago, I can honestly say that I've become more appreciative, more humble, and just like more myself, like who I'm supposed to be. So that being said, I want to share why I was attracted to the River West Food Pantry in the first place. So as Casey said, I went to Christendom College in Virginia, and it was awesome. I got like a really solid Catholic education, but it also was my first real experience with like a vibrant, loving community. I just never had that before. So when I graduated, or I guess even before I graduated, I knew I was like, wherever I live, I need to find a strong community. Just like I can't do it by myself. I need people, and I need to give myself. So as Sam pointed out, like we don't just give people food at the pantry, we're also like building personal relationships with them and like making them feel like the pantry is a place of hospitality and generosity. So I guess like, how do you do that though? Like how do you turn a place where people get food to a place where you're like, hey Joe, hey, it's good to see you, come on in, yeah, you want some breakfast? Yeah, all right. Like how do you do that? It has to start somewhere. So the staff and the interns, we have this like strong community life. So that means we live together, we work together, we pray together, and we actually hang out together. We do like each other. So we have a women's house and a men's house. And yeah, living with the people you work with is really an interesting experience. So I live with Sam over here, and she's pretty great, like even at home, you know? I'm pretty great too. But that's besides the point. I'll just answer for you. So then we work together. We all have our special projects, but the cool thing is that we're all like aiming at this goal of like strengthening the community at the pantry and like offering a community to people who may have never experienced that before. Like, we have people in all kinds of crisis. Maybe they're homeless, maybe they're in a domestic violence situation. So we have no idea how we can impact people's lives. So, and then we pray together. So Sam said, like, we have adoration most mornings, and we pray Liturgy of the Hours, morning prayer, and we go to Mass frequently. So, and that's like, it's just essential. Like, if we don't like stay rooted in Christ, like, i.e. like actually listening to Him and like hearing what He wants us to do, our efforts aren't good. They're not going to amount to much, you know? So that's essential. And yeah, we hang out together. We carved pumpkins like last week, and I've never carved a pumpkin by myself before. So this, Thank you. It's an honor for a porch. Yeah. So it's been like a really, it's been like super intense for me, but also just a really wonderful experience. So all that being said, I want to share an experience I had with a shopper recently. We serve a little breakfast Saturday mornings, and we encourage volunteers to like go sit down with someone they don't know. Shopper, don't be afraid, like just start a conversation. And so I did that with this woman, and we just got talking, whatever, and like pretty soon she started just like sharing with me some of the struggles in her life. She told me that her husband was seriously ill. Like, not to be too graphic, but she like woke up to him bleeding, and it just was really traumatic, and just how much that pained her. And she shared some more wounds with me, and I just sat and I listened, you know, and I mean, that's really all that I could do. And then I thought, like, I guess we were talking about prayer. I found out she was Catholic. So I don't know if some of you have probably heard of this, but like Lectio Divina, that kind of prayer, like praying with scripture and just like chewing on it, reading something and just sitting with it. I shared that kind of prayer with her, and she was like, "That sounds pretty cool. I'll try it." I was like, "Great." Sounds good. And then, so that was like a little over a month ago, and I saw her again recently, and she was sitting at a table, and I was walking near her, and I hadn't seen her yet, and all of a sudden, so yeah, you know, I'm just like walking along, you know, and I see like, kind of like not right in my vision, but to the side, she's there, and this person just like, "Mary!" I'm just like, "You!" It's like, darn, I gotta remember your name. But, you know, I recognized her and I remembered her story, you know, so I gave her a big hug, and I sat down with her again. And this is all while we're like people are getting food and like, whatever. There's a lot going on. And she was like, you know, I'm doing okay, you know, my husband's still not doing so hot, but that prayer, you know, I started doing that, and it's transforming me. And I was like, oh dang, oh man. That's good. So she's like, yeah, and I'm telling all my friends. I was like, oh yeah. It's really the Lord, not me. So I can't like fist bump too much. But that just was like, it was really a beautiful moment for me. Like all I did before was listen and share with her this kind of prayer that I knew. And it just meant a ton to her. So, that being said, this brings me back to what I shared in the beginning, that I've become a more appreciative person. Like that encounter and just encountering shoppers makes me realize like I don't worry about food. I know that I'll be fine, like I have food in the fridge at home. I never have to worry about like a safe and warm place to sleep. And there's like no serious illness in my immediate family. So it's just like filled me with gratitude, which I think is really important to like being joyful, like in life. If you're not grateful, you're probably sad. Like, so it's really good for me. And I also just, I've become a more humble person. And like talking with this woman, it's like I realized there's nothing I could do to like take away her pain. Like I can't make her husband feel better. And I can't help that other shopper with like, you know, maybe this mental illness they're struggling with. Like, you know, I'm not an expert, you know, in whatever. I mean, I can listen, but there's limits, and that's been huge for me, just to realize that ultimately, Jesus saves people, not me. Like, he uses me, but I'm not supposed to fix people, and that's actually like super freeing, and I think that helps when you encounter someone poor, because it can be really uncomfortable. At least for me, like when like a homeless person's like stopping me in the street, I'm like, I don't have anything to give, you know, and it just makes me uncomfortable to face their pain. So it helps me to remember, like, I can offer something, maybe whatever, you know, maybe I can bring them to a grocery store, buy them some food, whatever, but ultimately it's Christ who saves people. So that kind of takes the pressure off a little bit when you're working with people all the time like that. And then also, I've just become more myself. Like, I know myself a whole lot better, like all my folks. Like, living in community does that to you. You just like, when you're with people all the time, the same people all the time, you just learn about yourself and other people's faults. It's good. It's good stuff. I like Sam a lot.
You keep saying that, trying to like. But seriously, it also like makes me like, it draws out my talents. Like Sam will be like, "Hey Mary, you're really good with people." I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, that's really encouraging. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that, you know? So being a missionary intern, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. It can be really challenging sometimes, and especially at the beginning, it was really hard for me. And it stretches you, and yeah, it can be hard some days, but it also, like, not to be cheesy, but it like really, like honestly fills me with joy. And I'll just leave this with this last thought with you. There's peace being where God wants you to be. So I just ask you guys to like really think about that, dwell on that, like
where does God want you to be right now? And maybe in the next like few months, you know? So thanks guys, appreciate it.
So, I know we are done, but just to like close up, like, okay, we can serve. We need the balance between like contemplation and action. So we need to serve. We need to give of ourselves. We need to make a total gift of ourselves, and we also need to receive. So I just encourage you all, like, continue to pray. Keep daily prayer a big part of your life. Frequent the sacraments. Frequent confession, encounter God's mercy. The only way we're able to like encounter mercy in other people, be merciful to other people, if we receive that mercy as well. But also like do something. Find some place to serve right around you, to really also encounter the poor, and really like make yourself uncomfortable, to go into those uncomfortable places, because like I'm sure Madison has a lot of issues in Milwaukee, and like there are huge like eviction issues in Milwaukee. There's like so much like crisis that is going on all the time, and like we're really called as Christians, as Catholics, to enter into that. I think Pope Francis has been a wonderful model for us. So I really challenge you to make one step. So this can kind of seem like, great, there's all these things, there's all these great saints doing all this, to do all this stuff. Like just make one step in your life. Thank you very much. And we'll be here to chat, and we have more information in the back. Thanks.
We're going to transition to a time of praise and worship, so if everyone could please stand.
I'm accepted. You work in
Yes.